What's going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new series that I like to call Smoke Garage. Now, as you can see behind me, I've got a little bullet smoker, a few accessories, and this is all very, very cheap stuff. Now, I have a purpose for this series. I have never smoked meat before, and I'm encouraging professionals to get involved, tell me what I'm doing wrong, because I'm sure I'm going to get things wrong, and the best way to improve is to take people's advice, try it for yourself. And then I also want to encourage people who are at the same sort of level as me to get involved, watch the videos, listen to the comments, ask questions, and that way we can all grow together and we can all learn how to smoke meat better. And then by this summer, we'll all be a master, right? Probably not. I've watched a couple of videos and it seems to be that there is a lot of opinions and differences, and I had no idea how many things you can change to make the meat taste different. You can use different woods to smoke, you can use different charcoal, you can use all these crazy methods, you can spray things and water, and it actually got really overwhelming. So what I want to do is start with the basics, do a really simple brisket on this thing, and then you guys point out what I've gotten wrong, and then in the next one we'll improve and we'll do some ribs or we'll do some wings or something. So let's get involved, leave some comments below, let's go and get this thing started. I've got about a 2 kilo brisket that I've already trimmed up a little bit. I am not a butcher, so it's probably not going to be perfect. So again, leave your comments, roast me, no pun intended. Let me know what I've done wrong, and that way next time I can improve. Before we get stuck into that, I'll give you a quick walkthrough of what we've got and a couple of different options and what I think I'm going to run with. So first up, this is the smoker I'm using, and this guy was only $77 at the local Bunnings. It feels okay for the price, and let's be real, you can smoke in something you make in the bush, so surely it can do the job. I have done a bit of a pre-burn on this thing just to make sure that there was no sort of paint and stuff. But that's the little water bowl in there. So you got a little access so you can top up the water and keep an eye on things. And of course that's where your coals go, or whatever it is, your smoking wood, stuff like that. So please tell me if I'm wrong, but if you remove the water bowl, take that out, does that mean if you're not using water bowl you can do 2 layers of meat? Because then you can chuck that on there. You can do meat there, but then you'll just have to spritz, right? I think that's right. Please let me know in the comments if that's the right way to go, as long as you keep an eye on it. And I think spraying the water every 45 minutes or so, or apple juice or apple cider vinegar, whatever it is you're spraying. But for this experiment, water bowl in, fill it up with water, keep an eye on it, make sure it does have water in it, and that way apparently the smoke will attract to the water, then the moisture will go into the meat that's going to be on top. And I've got a very basic chimney. I think this thing was like $10, so that's just to get the coal started. And this is the lump coal that I've got. Apparently this is the way to go. I see some people using the briquettes, but apparently in this, that's the better way to go. Tell me if I'm wrong, I'm happy to buy the other stuff. And then to get the chimney started is some natural, all natural. You don't need to be using any fluids and chemicals and stuff to get that started. So I've gotten these guys, hopefully they do the job. And then this is the part that I had no idea about. So you can get smoking chips, you can get smoking chunks, you can get all different types of woods. So this is a cherry wood, which apparently has like a sweet sort of smell about it, which is going to infuse into your meat with the smoke, I believe. And then you got other ones as well, but I don't know how to use this. I think I saw a couple of people soaking them, but then didn't really show how they use them, whether they just throw them in or I don't know. So I think we're just going to roll with the chunks just because it does look a lot easier to deal with. And then I've just got a really basic temperature probe, and I actually tested this thing with a very accurate thermometer, and it's within 1 degree Fahrenheit. So that'll do me for now. Whether it lasts or not, I don't know. That'll be a good start. It's better than I'm assuming that thing will be. And I have watched a lot of people just go off this, but when you think about it, heat rises, so it's going to be really hard for that to be the correct temperature, because that is higher than the cooking level. Heat rises, it's going to say it's hotter than it actually is. And then I guess the last part of it is your rub. This is just a really basic pepper spice rub. I didn't want to do anything too crazy. I didn't want this to kind of dictate the flavors too much. I want to focus on the smoking, but you'll have to have a rub of some sort, I'm sure. So that's a real basic preview of what I'm working with here. Please, like I said, leave comments. Let me know if you have any thoughts on what I've just said there, because I don't know. I've just watched a few videos and I've tried to piece together all the best things that sound to me, because there's things that I've just shown you that some people say are wrong and some people say are right. So I don't know. We're about to find out. But let's get the chimney lit, get some coals warming up, and while that's happening, because that should take about 20 minutes, I believe, we can go and season the meat and get that ready to put it on top. Alright, so I figured I would load up the bottom with coal already. I've put water in the bowl. Now we've got 2 of these natural fire starters. Oh, I've broken it. Alright, we've got those, and then this is loaded up with the lump coal. Pop it on top. I've never done this before, so let me know what I got wrong. Again, I mean, it's doing smoke things. Cool. Leave that for about 20 minutes. Let's grab the meat and get it seasoned. Okay, charcoal's on. It's time to get the brisket ready. I've trimmed this up as much as I can. Like I said, I am not a butcher. Got some mustard just to get it to stick, and then some of that brisket rub. So let's start on the bottom. That's the bottom. Get some of this mustard on there. Should I be wearing gloves? There's so many questions. I feel like that's too much mustard. And apparently from height, so you get a nice even spread. And put it all over your legs. Don't forget the ends. Looks good to me. Flip her over. Go again. Full disclosure, this is not a high-end brisket. This is literally just from the supermarket. Mainly because I just didn't want to waste good quality meat. I'd rather just buy something basic, learn the mistakes, and then spend some money on the good stuff. But it looks okay. And I've seen guys do this until it's like completely covered. So I'm going to give it a really solid thick layer and then sort of let it soak in. Apparently it can sort of start absorbing those flavours, and you obviously want it to stick to it as much as you can. Get on there. I mean, that looks pretty seasoned to me. So as you can see, there are a few bits here that I'll top up. I might use a bit of mustard just to help it stick a little bit. And it's not the most uniform brisket. I didn't want to trim too much. I've actually already cut quite a bit off. This chunk was like all the way up here, so I've cut it down to try to help it cook as evenly as possible. It's been about 5 minutes and we're starting to get some hot coals down the bottom there. Let's give it a bit more time and see how it goes. We're about 10 minutes in and it's getting really hot now. And I've also realised I probably shouldn't have done it on the top one. Should take it off and get the water out of the way, because that's what all the noise is. So I've popped everything apart, and that's where I'm going to pour the hot coals onto once they're ready. I don't know if that's correct. Again, please let me know. Alright, it's been about 15-20 minutes, and I can see the top piece of coal is starting to turn white, which I believe means it's hot enough. Let's pour them in and find out. Alright, coals are in. I've got 4 pieces of cherry wood. I don't know if this is the right wood to use for brisket. It smells good. I'm going to put 3 pieces in just to start. Let's get that top grill attached. Oh man, it's smoking already. Alright, I've got everything attached, everything installed. I've got the top vent wide open. This doesn't have a bottom vent. So I'm just going to open the bottom door just to help some air circulate, and then apparently once we get up to about 250 degrees Fahrenheit, it's ready to put the meat on, I think. Could be wrong there, I don't know. Let's open that bottom door, get this thing smoking, and then hopefully pop the brisket on. Should take about 5 or 6 hours with the size of it. Let's see. Alright, I've finally got this thing to stabilise around that 250 to 255 Fahrenheit. But the only way I can seem to do that is by having all the doors open and the top open. maybe it's just too much coals in there for a bullet of this size. So next time I'll definitely use less coals, because I do obviously want to close that so that we get all the smoke into the meat, not out. Alright, I've got it sitting right on 250 degrees Fahrenheit with the bottom door closed and the top door just ajar a little bit and the top vent open all the way. Next time, definitely less coals in the bottom. Try to keep that temperature a little bit lower. Let's get some meat on this thing and see how we go. Brisket's on. We're going to come and check this every 45 minutes or so. Now I know we do have the water bowl in there, but I do also have a little water spritz. I want to keep as much moisture into that meat as possible. And I've heard that if it does start to creep up in temp too much, you can just give the coals a little spray, bring that temp down, especially if there's any hot spots, and keep this thing under control. But I want to aim for around 250 to 275 degrees Fahrenheit at the top. So here we go. Alright, it's been exactly 45 minutes since we started this brisket and the temp is sitting on exactly 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Played around a little bit with the vents, bits and pieces. I did pop an extra piece of the cherry wood in there just to keep the smoke a little bit higher than it was sort of dropping off. I don't know if I should have done that, but it seems to be working quite well. Constant smoke, constant temperature, and we now have an internal temp of 127 degrees Fahrenheit. Apparently we're aiming for around 200 Fahrenheit, but we'll see. I don't know how long that's going to take. It does feel like it's going quicker than I expected, but it's not a giant piece of meat, so we'll see. So I've experienced my first stall, and it's something I've been struggling with this for probably the last half an hour. I've had to open the bottom door, let some oxygen in to get the temp to come up. I think at some stage I might actually add one of these little vents to the side at the bottom just to help air get in and then out, because it's kind of struggling at the moment. I've seen some people drill holes in the bottom of the charcoal basket, but then you've got to put something under it. So I think if I just put a vent on the outside of this, I'm happy to modify it, I don't care, and that way it should get some airflow into this thing and I should be able to get some more stable temperatures, because it's struggling a little bit at the moment. Alright, it's been another 45 minutes. Let's just have a look at this. I want to check the water levels and stuff as well. Looking good. Still got water in that tub. Okay. Let's not keep it off there for too long. So I've found the only way I can get the temp to stay at about 250 at the moment is to have this bottom door open. I think it needs a vent of some sort. It's absolutely killing me. I don't know if it's because of the coal I'm using. It is just some pretty basic sort of stuff. I think next time I am going to try the snake method. If anyone's got some tips on that, leave them in the comments below. Alright, we're now at a bit over 2 hours in now and things are looking pretty good. I did just give the brisket a quick spritz with some water just to make sure it was nice and moist. Probably going to give it another hour or so and then hopefully that bark has started to set. Apparently when you can wipe the seasoning and it doesn't come off with your finger, that means we're ready to boat it. So we're going to put it on some foil underneath it and let the juices stay in there, but then still leave the top exposed. So, see you in about an hour. Alright, let's check. Alright, I think we're ready to boat this thing. Let's go get some foil and get it done. Alright, I didn't want to use tongs, but it looks like I have to. Now, roll this guy up and create a boat. Alright, we are well and truly over 4.5 hours now, and I actually need to leave this unattended for 45 minutes to an hour. So I've topped up a little bit of coals, I've put an extra piece of the smoking wood in there, and I've closed the bottom vent. If the temp drops, I feel like I'm okay with that, where if it cranks right up to 300 plus, I don't think that's going to be okay. So let me know if that was the right thing to do or not. I guess I'll find out when I get back. Anyway, see you soon. Alright guys, I'm back and things are looking pretty good. It's probing just below the goal temperature. I know you shouldn't aim for the temp so much, but I've probed around and it feels pretty good in most places. So I think we're ready to take it out. It's been about just over 6 hours, so I think it's time to pop it out, let it rest. I just want to eat it, but apparently let it rest for at least an hour. That's going to be a long hour. Let's get it out of there. Alright, it's been an hour and it's looking pretty good. Alright, cut this up. I don't know which way to cut it. Help me out here, guys. Go right down the middle. Damn. Cut this up a little bit and then we'll give it a taste. Alright guys, it is the moment of truth. So this is the first brisket I've ever cooked. Anything I've ever smoked. I mean, I'm sure there's been some mistakes and I would love it if you guys could point them out. But for now, so smoky. Wow, there is so much flavour. So it's definitely not the most tender brisket I've ever had, but it's definitely got the most flavour. Wow. So I don't know what I need to do to make it softer, more tender. It could just be because it's not a great quality meat, I don't know. But also, let me know if, or what mistakes I made. Alright, that better do. I better get this inside and served up for the wife before I get in trouble. I need you to comment below, let me know what I did wrong, what I did right, and how I can improve, because it's not the most tender, but it definitely has, what in my opinion, the most flavour I've ever had from a brisket. So let me know how I can make it better. I'm going to get this inside because I am starving. I'm going to go and enjoy dinner. Now of course there's going to be a follow-up video after some people leave some comments and I get some feedback, because I want to improve. Next time I might do something different, like some ribs. I want to do some basting and some brown sugar and stuff like that. So I want to start experimenting on this thing, so leave your comments below. What can I do better? What did I get right? But more importantly, what did I get wrong? That's going to do it for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please click the subscribe button and we'll see you on the next one.